literally went back and wrote down my SAT scores, ACT scores, my GPA, my class rank, but basically I'm going to share with you my test scores and my other scores that helped me get into the University of Tampa. I just put some eye drops in because my eye was kind of red. Do you see that? Oh, sorry, that's a little weird, but hey, what's up you guys? It's Jared. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I actually just wanted to share with you how I got into UT, or at least how I think I got into UT, in hopes that it helps you and gives you a little sigh of relief or a little extra motivation to work hard to get into the University of Tampa if that's your school that you want to get into. To be really honest, I think my SAT scores and ACT scores, in my opinion, were pretty average. I know for sure that they weren't the best, but they also weren't the worst, so that would make it average, right? I don't think I've ever shared any of these scores and test results and anything with anybody, so you're in luck and this is going to be pretty fun. So starting with the ACT, I don't know if they even require the ACT for any schools anymore, or the SAT for that matter, but my ACT score was a 25. It feels so weird to be talking about it because I don't know, I always kept that part of me private. I never wanted to compare scores with anybody, or at least I tried not to, because I struggled a lot with, I don't know, just self-worth, and I think I was really insecure with test scores and everything in high school. So yeah, my ACT score was a 25. Let me just check to make sure. I know that with the schools I've applied to, if it said that it was recommended to submit your ACT scores, I did it anyways, just to show that I did go out of the way and take the test too. So I had the SAT and the ACT together. Also, just a heads up, if my camera goes out of focus, I am so sorry. I'm trying to get a new camera eventually. For those of you that are applying to UT or have gotten in recently, you would know if the ACT is required or not. I don't think it is, but correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. And now for the big one, the SAT. Man, I hate the SAT. Seriously, I do not like, I don't know, I think standardized testing is kind of dumb. Ready for this? Drum roll, please. For anybody watching who went to school with me, now is the time to figure it out. All right, my SAT score was a 1270. 1270. I think that was after, I think I took the SAT twice. There's the PSAT, then the SAT, and then took it again. Ooh, Snapchat. For me, a 1270, I don't think is that good, but hey, honestly, that's just my personal thing. And I think UT, when I applied, required an 1100 or something. I don't know. I'll look it up. Honestly, I don't even think UT requires an SAT score anymore. A lot of colleges after the pandemic happened, they just abolished them. I don't know if that's the right word, but they just got rid of them altogether. Now, my GPA, I think this is where I shined a lot. At the end of high school, buddy, I know. When I graduated high school, I ended with a 3.85 GPA, which that's pretty good. And I was pretty proud of that. That was great because I wanted to get at least a 3.8 or above. I mean, at least a 3.75 and above. That was my GPA at the end of high school. When I applied to the University of Tampa, though, I think my GPA was at like a 3.74. I will have to resume this in a little bit. But in the meantime, check this out. It was yesterday. I was filming a day in my life. Didn't get to finish, but... So I've been skating in probably like 2 years. We're just gonna see how this goes. But I feel like the real test is to see if I can still ollie or not. Not really. Here are my thoughts. The SAT and standardized testing as a whole, I can see why it benefits, but honestly, I absolutely detest. I think that's the right word, detest them. Why? Because I think SAT and other tests test how well you can do in 4 hours versus your GPA, which I think is a better assessment of how successful you will be in college, because the GPA is 4 years, not 4 hours, 4 years, because it's all throughout high school. Focus on that GPA. Work hard, try your hardest. Honestly, there's no reason not to try hard, especially if you want to go to college. Some people are just naturally gifted with education and naturally are smart, you know, like that's just how they were born. That's just the advantage they have. But that doesn't mean you can just slack off and say, oh, these people are smarter than me, that these people are just naturally gifted. No, work harder. It doesn't mean you can't work harder than them. Work your butt off, but obviously don't torture yourself with the amount of work you're putting in. Another huge thing that I'd recommend is just to be kind. You know, I realized that being kind and just being a good human and a good person will do so much more for you in the future and in the present than it will just to be selfish and to be mean and to be unkind. I received a good amount of awards, I think, in high school and even in middle school and stuff. I think part of that had to do with just being a good person person, being kind and trying my best in every area of life. You know, like there's no reason not to, honestly. Why wouldn't you try your best? Why wouldn't you work hard? And why wouldn't you perform to the best that you can? I know, buddy. I know. So at the end of high school, my class rank was, I think, 22. I think I wrote that down. Wait. Yes, it was 22 out of around 300 people in my class. As far as my resume, I guess you could say, goes, I wasn't involved in a whole lot of things in high school, but I was involved with a few things for a long time. Like French, I took French for 4 years in high school. I was in marching band, concert band for all 4 years of high school, and I was really involved with that as well. And then I was also in the school musicals and the school plays for my last 2 years of high school, but I did 4 shows total in high school. I was also in a few clubs like the Crossfire Prayer Group for 3 years of high school, and I also did dabble with some sports. I did freshman football, I did diving my sophomore year of high school, but that's about it. I think college admissions really likes to see that you're dedicated in a few things or a lot of things if you choose to do so, because it kind of reflects like in the workforce, like or in a job where you're with the job for a while, or even in college, like you're going to be in that college for a while. As far as the common application and the essay I wrote for that, I wrote about a time where I stepped out of my comfort zone and did something that I knew was right in my heart, and it was just a great experience. I don't think it was necessarily the essay that got me into UT, but I think it was adding things that weren't required but recommended. You know what I mean? If you go the extra step and include things that are recommended, whether that's an essay or your ACT scores or your SAT scores, I think they like to see you have more to show than just like the bare minimum. So that's why I included all the recommended things. So take the SAT if colleges still recommend that, just so that you can show them that like, hey, I took this and here's another thing to look at. I think what also helped is that I did early action number 2. So I applied early in advance. I didn't wait to the last minute. And so I think I was one of the earlier people for them to choose from or select or look at. And as far as like resume goes, I included a resume, which I don't think was required. It might have been, but I included a resume, which had a picture on it, just so that they can get more familiar with me and get a face to who I was and what they were expecting. And as far as your resume goes, if you have any connections to the school, put those first. Honestly, I think the average that people look at resumes is like 7 seconds. And so in a huge stack of applications for the school, put things that you know will make you stand out. Honestly, guys, I was super nervous. I wasn't even going to get into the school. I think you might be feeling that too if you're applying, but it'll work out. Everything will work out. Even if you don't get in, you can always transfer, you can always reapply, and don't give up. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. You know, like if UT is your dream school, then work for it. Work hard for it. I think my best piece of advice is if you fail to plan to fail. It would mean a lot to me if you could like this video, because I wanted to get to as many people as possible who are looking to get into UT. We literally got like a few weeks left before the semester comes up. If you're going to college, make sure to check out this video on what you actually need to bring to college, because that was something that I wish I had before I went to school, because I brought a lot of stuff that I didn't need to bring. So go check out that video. It'll be right here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Thanks for doing life with all of us here at this channel.